Hello, this is Jockin, coach of the San Francisco Cinderace. Today I'll be going over my team for my Week 7 match against the Huntsville Haunters. He's got a pretty formidable team. He has his own Grimmsnarl, the S tier rather than the G-Max, the Lucario, the Piloswine, and the Heliolisk. I'm expecting to give me problems. The rest of his team is interesting. He's got a nice blend. He's got Noivern that outspeeds my whole team, even if it's not Scarf. So I have to Scarf something if I want to outspeed it. Scorch is a very good answer to Cinderace, as we've already seen against the Toronto Toxicroaks, because Pyro Ball can't do anything. Piloswine, an offensive Piloswine gives my team a couple problems, but we brought something to deal with that. And then there's out of the what's left, Togekiss, Ferroseed. I'm not too worried about either. About the only way Togekiss scares me is if it or Grimmsnarl starts Thunder Waving and then it gets a bunch of Air Slash flinches. So all in all, probably most worried about Grimmsnarl and Heliolisk. So let's get into the team. So first up, we have my G-Max Grimmsnarl. Now this week we're going Kebiaberry. We're going up against the Gengar now. G-Max Ooze doesn't do much on its own. It does 45 to 50% to this Grimmsnarl. But the problem is, if he's a nasty plot Gengar, then a G-Max Ooze would one-shot me if I don't have a Kebiaberry. The problem is, there's a lot of things on his team that can deal with it. He's got Gengar, obviously, with G-Max Ooze. It could even be carrying Dazzling Gleam if it wants to hit me that way. He's got two Fairy types in Grimmsnarl and Togekiss that both hit me super effectively, and Lucario also hits me super effectively with Stab, and that's not counting any coverage moves that might be on other stuff. So Grimmsnarl's gonna have a tricky time. I'm not bringing setup or anything like that. Probably just G-Max, try and get a kill or two, see what he can get done for me. The moveset is Reflect, Sucker Punch, Power Whip, Play Rough. Reflect if, let's say, he survives after his 3 turns of G-Max with like 9%. I can probably bring him in and set up the Reflect. Same with the Sucker Punch, I can get a Sucker Punch off. And worst comes to worst, if I G-Max before Gengar, and I end up running out while Gengar still has his G-Max, a Sucker Punch does, I think it's like 60 to 70 unless he's a Dark Resist Berry. So, Grimmsnarl, not expecting to sweep this week, but he's going to be very strong. Moving on, we decided we're going to go with Silvally Ground. I had been trying to squeeze Flygon into the team because I wanted a Heliolisk answer. Also Gengar if it carries Max Lightning. So I wanted a ground type. And looking, Silvally's very similar. Because Gengar's a frail Pokemon by nature, even Dynamax Gengar takes a lot from a lot of things on my team. So for example, a multi-attack from Silvally Ground does like 80%. The problem is Silvally's slower, it's not priority like Grimmsnarl Sucker Punch, so it's going to be taking a hit, and it's only going to get 1 off. But if it gets chipped out by anything, if it takes a Sucker Punch from the Grimmsnarl, then I'm going to be able to clean it up with the Silvally. With that said, Noivern and Togekiss do exist. They are immune to ground, so I had to put some coverage. Ice Fang hits both of them. Otherwise, I was looking at coverage moves that I wanted to bring, say like Iron Head for the Grimmsnarl, or if I wanted to bring Grass Pledge to hit the Gastrodon, but multi-attack does very similar damage to all of them. So I ended up just going multi-attack Ice Fang U-turn with Swords Dance. I'm not expecting to set up with Silvally, but if I somehow get him in and feel like I can predict a switch, a Swords Dance guarantees that multi-attack U-turn kills something. So it's a good option, and he's max speed because he's base 95, Lucario is base 90, and multi-attack one-shots the Lucario, so we want to be able to outspeed that. U-turn over Parting Shot, just because Lucario has Justified. I don't want to be proccing Justified with a Parting Shot if I don't have to. So we're going to be going on to Mr. Cinderace. Kept Heavy Duty Boots. Piloswine can set up rocks, which I wanted to be careful about. So Heavy Duty Boots this week. And then Pyro Ball. If we come back over to his team, Pyro Ball hits a lot of things. It one-shots Lucario. I believe it 2-shots the Piloswine unless it's max defense, 1-shots Ferroseed, 1-shots Heliolisk. If it's a specially defensive Gastrodon, it can be 3-shot. Togekiss gets 2-shot, Grimmsnarl gets 2-shot, Gengar gets 2-shot. So he doesn't have anything except Scorch that wants to come in on a Pyro Ball. Sucker Punch is there to clean up kills. If, say, Grimmsnarl fights the Gengar, dies, it's another way I have to deal with it. I was thinking about high jump kick, but high jump kick didn't do more damage to anything than the Pyro Ball, and if he switches in Gengar, then I'm in trouble. Because I wanted to bring it for Heliolisk, but he's likely to bring Dry Skin Heliolisk, which means Pyro Ball does more damage than high jump kick because it's already stabbed and then it gets the Dry Skin boost, so no high jump kick. Same with Seal Valley, debated on Iron Head if I wanted to add Grimmsnarl, but it's the same situation. Pyro Ball already does more, so. Pyro Ball, Sucker Punch, and then the same too, U-turn, Court Change. Court Changing me sets up rocks, U-turn to help me get momentum. And then Max Speed with attack. The Max Speed Heliolisk is base 109. I'm base 119. If I don't take the Max Speed Nature, Heliolisk would just be able to outspeed me, so I want to be making sure I'm faster unless he's Choice Scarf. Next, we have Aegislash. Now, I was looking at his team, and it's fairly slow overall. The only things he has that stand out would be Heliolisk, Noivern, Gengar. But the Aegislash set I'm bringing is Max Speed with Choice Scarf. So this actually puts him at 184 speed, which outspeeds everything on his team except the Noivern. That doesn't include Choice Scarfs, but still outspeeds everything except Noivern. And the moveset, he's got Iron Head, Shadow Claw, Rock Slide, Close Combat. He hits everything at least neutrally with one of those moves. The Close Combat one-shots the Lucario and the Heliolisk. Shadow Claw one-shots the Gengar if it's regular, I believe, and it does like 70 if it's G-Max. The Iron Head two-shots the Togekiss, one-shots the Grimmsnarl. Rock Slide one-shots the Centiskorch, two-shots the Noivern. And he outspeeds, like I said, everything except the Noivern and whatever he Choice Scarf, so I'm expecting to catch him off guard at least a little bit with Choice Scarf Aegislash. It's going to be interesting because it's another one of the sets like I brought against the Boston Bidoofs that it can't King's Shield, and it's going to involve a lot of switching, and I don't have my 3 pivots I usually like to have. So it's going to be a little tougher to use than usual, but I think it should still work pretty well. Moving on, we have Specially Defensive Vaporeon. So I have run physical sets in the past, but there's enough things I want to be able to take hits specially from this week that Specially Defensive was justified, and with Crustle being here, it doesn't need to be physical. So, Water Absorb, he has Gastrodon, Helios can fire off Surfs as well. There's other stuff on his team that gets water, but those are the only 2 I'm expecting to actually use water moves. And then we've got a pretty standard bulky sort of set, Scald, Ice Beam, Yawn, and Wish. Yawn, because if I switch in on the Gastrodon and get a Yawn off, I'm going to be doing more than he is doing to me. Especially offensive Gastrodon does like 20% with an Earth Power, and my Ice Beam does like 22 to 26, I want to say. And I have leftovers, I don't know what he's going to have, but if I Yawn, he can get 1 recover and then he's going to sleep and I can get something in for free, so. It's going to be an annoying set that he's going to have to do a lot of switching to try and avoid falling asleep unless he wants something to go to sleep. So, Wish is there to help keep things healthy, because Vaporeon's base, I should say the way Wish works, 50% of the user's max HP. So, I wish half of Vaporeon's HP, which is 230. So you're getting, what, like 170 HP back? So if I wish with Vaporeon and something like Cinderace comes in, it almost gets filled to full just about every time. So it's going to be a healer for the team, and Yawn is there to help it create opportunities to bring stuff in to get the wish. So max special defense, 4 special attack, max HP, minus attack, nothing crazy there. And then we got Crustle. Now I picked up Crustle this week because I was looking for something that could deal mainly with Piloswine. And Crustle's defense is crazy high. He's almost at 200 with max investment here. So he is going to be taking like 20% from an Earthquake and about the same from an Icicle Crash. The best he can do against me is Stone Edge, which does like 35 to 40, and if it crits it does about 60. But I'm not expecting him to carry Stone Edge because the only reason he'd really want to would be Sigilif or Cinderace, and he can already hit both of those with one of his other stabs. So I didn't see a big reason for him to be carrying Stone Edge, and push comes to shove, I still eat 3 as long as they're not crits, 2 if one of them is. And as long as I get a knockoff off, that's all I want. So we're running AV. It helps shore up. His special defense isn't bad at 95, but especially because I'm uninvested in it, I want to be able to take some special hits from stuff like the Heliolisk. So he's got the AV this week. I wanted to put a healing item. I had put Iapapa Berry on there, but AV seemed like it was better overall, especially because I can be wishing with the Vaporeon to keep him healthy. Moveset wise, we got Body Press, which does damage based off defense, so he's going to be doing a lot of damage to anything he can Body Press. It actually one-shots the Lucario if I catch it on the switch, so that's going to be a lot. Knockoff does quite a bit to the Gengar, but it's really there to knock off the Eviolite off of Piloswine, and anything else it catches on the switch is just an added bonus. Rock Slide is his stab move. It's going to be hitting stuff like Togekiss, Centiskorch, Noivern pretty hard, and it's just there for decent coverage. I had thought about Rock Blast, but Rock Slide is more consistent. You can predict, like, Rock Blast has higher highs. If you get all 5 hits, it does more damage. But Rock Slide is a little more accurate, and you're getting, or I think it's same accuracy, but you're guaranteed the 75 power, which is 3 hits on Rock Blast, so I felt it was worth it to go with that. And then my last slot, I wanted to put a status move, but because I'm AV, I can't. And then I had to think up what I wanted. I had debated between Earthquake, X-Scissor, Heavy Slam. In the end, I looked at a lot of the damage, and Body Press was just the best move like 90% of the time, unless I was going for a knockoff. So I ended up going with Poison Jab. Like, if I don't know what he's going to bring in on a switch, Poison Jab's pretty safe. About the only thing I'd have to worry about is Lucario. But if I catch something like, say, the Gastrodon on a switch with a Poison Jab, yeah, it's not going to do a lot of damage, but I'm hoping to get that poison off. Help keep it chipped down a little bit better. So that's the team overall. If I had to guess what's going to do well this week, it's going to be my Cinderace Aegislash. Crystal 2 will probably pick up a kill, but Cinderace Aegislash is what I'm expecting to carry me pretty handily through this week. So I think it's going to be tricky, that's for sure. He's got a lot of stuff that can threaten my team, and I'm expecting a lot of trade kills. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting week. The battle video should be up shortly after this, so be sure to stick around and check that one out.